don't see anybody on here yet, but whenever you do get on, welcome to Gigi's Threefold Harvest. Just thought I'd do a short video on my Sunday, little small Sunday dinner. I've just finished peeling white potatoes. I'll be mashing them up with some hamburger to go with some hamburger and gravy. And something green. Tried to have them already peeled before I came on. As a matter of fact, it started not to come on. I hope you guys are doing well on this Sunday morning. Sunday evening. So as you can see, I've already peeled a few potatoes. And I'm about to boil them. The water is already boiling, salted water. That's not too hot. You want to keep it the way you had it. Okay, just cut the potatoes in half. I don't like to cut them really small because they're evaporating to the water. Cut them too small. I don't see a soul on there yet. But when someone comes on, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Send your comments, your likes, dislikes, whatever it may be. Yes, here are the sweet potatoes. Petra, good evening. Good evening to you. Mashed potatoes. These are the white potatoes that I'm about to boil. Subscribe to the channel and come back if you don't want to stay on, Petra. Thank you for joining. And these are your premium red potatoes that I just peeled. Okay. I'm about to make some homemade biscuits, which I had to stop because I needed to peel the potatoes. I would normally have the biscuits already made. If you don't want to stay on, again, you can come back and look at the video later after the live goes off. Okay, so I've already shredded up a stick of butter, real butter. You can use margarine or lard or whatever you want to use. You can also go to Gigi's Threefold Harvest and you'll see a video already there on making homemade biscuits. I am using the gold medal plain flour today, and I've already put baking powder. I've already put baking powder in this. When you use plain flour, you do have to use at least teaspoon or a tablespoon of baking powder. Doesn't have to be this brand, any brand you choose, so that the bread will rise. Got a large bag several weeks ago, just because it was pretty cheap to be a 12-pound bag. Don't usually use this type of flour, but I'm stirring this up with my hand. You don't have to stick your hands in it. One side, my purpose of me stirring it with my hand right now, see that, is to mix the baking soda and the butter together. Hello, Free Frog. Free, forgive me if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Hello, thank you for joining. Homemade biscuits and gravy with hamburger. The hamburger is probably already done, but I have to make the gravy. I think I'll use some of your gravy if you're not going to eat it. You going to fix that gravy today? So, well, you got that liver in it. I'll leave you a little bit. I may get a little bit of it and mix it with this. A little bit. I guess you just crossed over the channel, Petra. Yeah, yummy. Robin Hill. I see you. Thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you just happen to have been strolling, which I'm sure you just happen to be strolling over and saw me just pop on. And if you haven't subscribed, if you subscribe, you'll be able to pull my channel up at any time and look at my videos. Okay, so I already have the flour and the baking soda. I already have those in here. The only other ingredient I'm going to use is buttermilk. This is actually whole cultured buttermilk. See that? Okay. And this flour is pretty cheap. You can use any brand flour you want to use. It's easier if you're learning how to make biscuits. Don't use plain flour. Use self-rising, any brand self-rising flour. Any brand you want to use. Okay. So I'm going to stir this until it starts getting a little clumpy. Again, if you don't want to stay on to see this done, you can go on my channel and look at my other video. Well, I have a couple of videos on there making biscuits. The oven is preheating to 475. Depending on how fast your oven, if you have like an older oven, you may can turn it up to 500. The purpose of the high setting to cook your biscuits is so your biscuit will rise quickly. They won't sit and dry up. Like if you set your oven on, what we were all taught back in the day, was to set your oven on 350. And whereas they cook fine that way, they tend to dry out. Okay, so just a little bit more buttermilk. The buttermilk is the key to them tasting their best, really. You see how I got it? And it's at the point now where I'm about to pull it out and make them into biscuits. Stir that buttermilk up in them really good, because again, this flour is cheap. It's not your expensive flour. It's cheap, so, but if you use enough buttermilk and butter, real butter, they will come out fine. So I'm gonna flour the surface. I don't use a cutting board or anything, but you can if you don't want to like roll them out on your, cut them out on your countertop. You can use whatever you want to use. So take your dough out on them. Okay. Okay. You see, I continue to wet my hands with coat my hands with flour until I'm able to pick this dough up. And my phone is a little bit high here, so I'm gonna move you guys down here. You still can't see it. It'd be great if I had someone to hold the phone, you know, so you can see what I'm doing, but you can't really see what I'm doing. But I'll show you what I'm doing right here for a minute. You see I just put flour on the countertop. And I'm gonna put that flour down there and go ahead and cut these biscuits out. See that? Okay, so I'll set you back up here. Okay, so I've got my dough to a point where I can pick it up, put it down on the surface, which is the countertop. You can use a cutting board if you don't want to lay it directly on your countertop, or you can get one of those pastry thingies that they sell and lay it on top of your counter if you don't want to put it directly on your counter. Just make sure your counter is clean and the countertop is fine. Just don't cut your countertop up when you get ready to cut your biscuits up. My hamburger is pretty done. I've just put that on simmer until I can take them out and make the gravy. I'll let you see the dough in just a bit. You see the dough? Okay. You guys go to church today? So yeah, I'm just working it now so I can cut the biscuits out. And I'll be cutting the biscuits out with a, you know, this can is pretty, remind me not to throw away this can when it get empty. This baking powder can. Look like it's the perfect size to cut biscuits out with the can once the can is empty. So I'm gonna make the biscuits. You're about to cut them out now. I'll show you the biscuits in just a bit. I'm not making a lot of them, so I'm not gonna have a lot to freeze. I'll have to get a glass, like I said, because, and I normally like to already have my glass handy, because by now, as you see, my hands are messy from handling the dough. It's best to have I would say if you can get a biscuit cutter, get yourself a biscuit cutter. You definitely don't want to cut your hand when you do cut the biscuits. If you do decide to use a glass, be careful that you don't break the glass off in your hand. So see, just a simple glass with a small mouthpiece is the only thing I'm going to cut them with. But you want to be careful and make sure, like I said, that you don't cut your hand. Okay, what I just did was put some flour on the surface so I can flour the glass. Yeah, I usually have my biscuits already made, so I don't have to be trying to deal with dough while I'm trying to cook the meal. It's just a lot of work, a lot of extra work. You know, because these biscuits, you can freeze these biscuits and like just grab them out of the bag, which is what I normally do, but I cooked the remaining of the biscuits that I had yesterday. And I think I got 3 left, so I won't cook with 6 of these. You can't heat the biscuits over unless you don't like leftover biscuits. Okay. So I'm gonna bake these biscuits in a regular baking pan. Right now you see me rubbing my hands, rubbing the flour off my hands. Hey, at user. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to my channel, and you can come back and look at it later if you don't want to stay on. I appreciate it. Okay, so here's the biscuits. My camera is too high, so I'm gonna let you see my biscuits while I cut them out. See the biscuits? So I'm gonna go ahead and put 6 of them in the oven. See those? Okay, it's 2, 3, 4. Don't really need this many biscuits, but whatever I don't eat today, I'll put some gravy on them tomorrow morning for breakfast. I'm going to put place the biscuits in here where they can touch each other. I learned that helps them to stand up if they're going to rise at all. See those? Just 6. So I'm going to place them in the oven in a minute. They are cooked fairly fast, and I don't want them to cook before I get finished getting the food ready. So I'll be putting them in the oven in just a bit. Okay. Okay, the spare biscuits. If you notice, I still have biscuits left that I need to cut out. And I'm going to put them on this plastic plate and put them in the freezer. So when I get ready to cook some next time, it's something they're already ready. And depending on how flat you mash them has a lot to do with how tall they're going to stand once you bake them. Looking a little raggedy, some of them, but they can just stay raggedy. We still eat them. They don't have to be pretty. The main thing is that they be good. You don't have to be pretty. As a matter of fact, some people spoon their dough out. You know, the way the dough was when I first picked it up and showed it to you. You can just spoon it right onto your baking pan, cast iron pan, or whatever it is that you choose to bake them in. And again, make sure you put your oven on at least 400. You know, so they won't cook. They cook too slow. They actually cook too slow on 350. You know, you definitely need your oven higher than 350. This biscuit here is too ugly. See that biscuit? So I'm gonna like mash it up into the other ones. I just decided to put them together at the last minute, rushing out of church and just coming here rushing, trying to fix something to eat. What are you guys cooking today? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm cutting a few more. This one is, see, this one is nice and pretty and round because I took my time and work the dough enough where the biscuit don't look raggedy. But even if they look raggedy, they're still very good. Because the key is that you put enough buttermilk in them. Use real butter, but you don't have to use real butter. Now I need another plate. And again, I'm putting them on plastic plates because I'm going to place these in the freezer. I've already got one plate full. See? They go in the freezer. Then once they freeze, you can pick them up and put them in a freezer bag. And that's what I do with them. And then during my next meal, where I want to have some homemade biscuits, I don't have to be standing here trying to make them. That's really time consuming. Don't take long to make them if you know, if that's all you got to do. But I prefer making my biscuits on a day when I'm really not cooking. Just make them and freeze them, and then we already got them. There's my leftover dough that I pulled together, so I'm going to make about 2 more biscuits out of this. These will be nice and tall for real. See that? Okay. You do have people that say don't overwork your dough because your biscuits will be hard. I found that not to be true, at least not in my case. Maybe true for some people. If you want your biscuits to be real smooth, you do have to work them a little bit. I haven't had any hard biscuits yet. Some of them are not as pretty because I don't take my time like with the earlier ones, and make them real nice and smooth. But they don't have to be pretty. They can be knotty, nappy, as long as they're fluffy. That's all that matters, and that you don't cook them too slow. So there's 4 more. They go in the freezer, and again, when they get hard, I'll be putting them in a freezer bag, Ziploc bag. And stick them right down here in the freezer. Okay, you see this? This is a slushy that I've had a couple of days, and it's frozen. So I'm going to let it sit out, and it'll be nice and soft by the time you're ready to eat. See that? It's called, some people call them a Slurpee or slushy. But it was in my way in the freezer. And you can get some nice big ones from Sheetz. Not sure where you guys from. If you have a Sheetz service station, they sell there very reasonable. You can get strawberry, blueberry, watermelon, cherry, lemonade, and you know, especially in the summertime when it gets warm, they're very good and very reasonable. Okay, so now I'm going to focus my attention back over to, well, I've got to clean this top here off. So just hold tight. I'm cleaning my countertop where I just rolled the biscuits. Actually, I wouldn't even have to make a mess on my counter. I could roll them with my hands. I think when I make another batch, I'm going to like roll and shake them with my hand. Then I don't have to mash them out and cut them out. You know, that will make it even quicker when you don't have to take time to mash them. The only purpose for cutting them anyway is so that they can be all uniform in size. And you just end up having your countertop to clean, but it's not hard to clean. Not a hard job at all. Okay. There's some of the mess on the countertop on the floor. Now that's aggravating. But that was due to my own negligence. It's just extra work. So this is my little Sunday dinner. For those of you that I see quite a few more people jumped on. It is hamburger, mashed potatoes, hamburger and gravy, mashed potatoes, and homemade biscuits. I would prefer to have had my green lima beans today, but I'm trying to get everything done fast. I'm always rushing. So I end up having maybe some leftover collard greens from the other day, just to have something green. But the hamburger and mashed potatoes and gravy in itself with the biscuits is more than enough to eat. Okay, so I've got the countertop ready. So meanwhile, I'm gonna take you over to the stove and let you look at my hamburger. Have to flip this around. So, you see that? And you see all that juice in there? Because the hamburger was frozen. So when it cooked, it just made a lot of water and grease together. So I'm gonna make some gravy out of this. Turn the eye back up. You see that? That stuff you see in the bottom will make some really good gravy. See there? Okay, and over here in this pot, you see my biscuits. I'll be popping my biscuits in the oven in just a little bit. Okay. So my potatoes are pretty much done as they need to be. They were trying to stick. Took the water out of them that quick. Yeah, because you don't need them to boil too much because they'll tear apart and you'll lose a lot of your potato in the water. So when they get fork tender, as a matter of fact, it's one or two maybe the fork won't go in too easy. Okay. I'm going to turn you back around and I'm going to make the gravy right quick. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to take the hamburger out of this. You see, the hamburgers are done enough. You don't want your hamburgers tough. They may be tough anyway because I had them frozen, pre-seasoned with onions and green pepper, salt, and had them in the freezer a couple of weeks. So that's why you see so much water from being frozen. Okay, so I'm going to drain some of this. Okay, so I'm going to drain, and meanwhile, it still has the hamburger grease in it now. And I'm going to leave this stuff in the bottom right where it is. And I was going to use some liver gravy that my husband cooked yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and just make this. And then I'll have it. And plus, I'm putting the biscuits in now, so you guys won't have to stay on here long. I'll let you see the biscuits. And the oven has been preheated at 475. Big bag of flour. The only thing I'm going to do is toss some flour. You can do it with your hand or a cup or a spoon or whatever. Just put some flour in that grease that I just left in the pan. Okay, this is a big bag of flour, isn't it? And again, this is plain flour. You know, if you have a Sam's Club anywhere near you, and you want to be able to make cakes, you want to have a lot of flour to make cakes or whatever, get you a bag of this. It costs you less than $7 for 12 pounds. I normally use self-rising flour, then I don't have to concern myself with using baking powder. If you don't put baking powder in plain flour, you'll have flat biscuits or flat cake, whatever it is you decide to make. It's not going to rise. You have to put that extra, you have to put that baking powder in there, at least a teaspoon per cup full. You see? See how my roux, we call the roux, I already started making up the gravy. See that? And then the hamburgers that I took out of it, I'll be putting those back in there. And I see my potatoes are done. I don't want them to overcook. Okay, so you see that? You see, those are the hamburgers that I'm going to put back into the gravy. You can buy gravy, but the gravy that you buy is not going to taste as well as the gravy that you make. So I'm getting water. And if you're afraid you're going to burn your gravy, you can just go ahead and take it off. See it's browning. Browning. Smush it up. This is similar to the way you make breakfast gravy. Breakfast gravy, of course you don't use hamburger, you use sausage, like that crushed up sausage to make your gravy. After you finish cooking your sausage, you don't take it out of the pan because it's crushed. But I'll show you how to make some gravy on another video. So stay subscribed to the channel now so you won't miss it. But I don't think I've done gravy, homemade gravy, on the video yet. The homemade gravy actually tastes better than the canned gravy. And I'm talking about breakfast gravy. Let me show you what breakfast gravy, this is usually what I use, but, and this is some very good gravy if you don't want to take the time and make it. But that you make tastes even better than this. And you make gravy, you actually use milk to make sausage gravy. Okay, so I'm stirring it again. And I'm about to put my water in here now so the gravy won't burn. You don't want burnt gravy for sure. Okay, so when that starts boiling, I'll show you that. Clara, hello. How are you? Thank you for joining. Okay. I'm putting salt and pepper in the gravy before it starts boiling. And that's really all you need in your gravy, depending on how seasoned. You've got some people that like a lot of seasoning. I don't care for a lot of seasoning. My favorite seasoning is salt and black pepper. This is some Martin seasonal, where it gives you a little extra flavor. On the Martin seasonal, if you want to use something, you really don't need anything because those onions, the onions and green pepper or bell pepper is actually enough seasoning. And I'm working fast, as you can see. I'm beginning to work up a sweat. I see this video been going for 36 minutes, and I definitely didn't mean for it to be that long. But I see some of you have dropped off. But I had already mentioned that if you want to come back later, come back later. Video may not be posted until maybe 3 o'clock, as early as 3 o'clock. It could be between 3 and 7, depending on when YouTube releases it. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to keep the video going until I get the biscuits out. And then I can show, I want to go ahead and mash the potatoes too, so you can see that. You can see those. Okay. Get my strainer. I like my mashed potatoes kind of lumpy, so I'm not going to mash them. That's why I don't want them, one of the reasons I don't want them to overcook. Okay. Okay, I want to turn you back in. So you can see what the gravy looks like now? You see that? And so I'm going to put the hamburger right back in there. And then that's pretty much done. Put your hamburgers back in. And that's the end of that. Let it simmer a little bit. See that? Okay, so I'm just let that continue to simmer. I'll let you take one more peek at that in just a second. Here are the potatoes that I'm about to mash. Okay. So I'm about to strain the potatoes. Here in the sink. Okay. And they've strained. Potatoes are strained. So now I'm just going to pour them in this bowl. I'm going to drop a piece of butter in here. I haven't used all the butter. I use a lot of butter. I'm going to put just a half a stick of butter in here. Of course, some milk. Not buttermilk, just regular milk. You can use the canned milk if you want to. That expensive milk, can't think of the name of it, I'm not going to use that. But I'm going to put at least a half a stick of butter, but I'm going to break it up a little bit so it could go ahead and melt. And then that's at least a half a stick. That's all I would say that you need in there, because you're going to have gravy on top of the potatoes. Okay, so I'll get my potato masher. Check on there. Now actually, if you were paying attention, you'll notice that I put some of that all-purpose flour in here. And all-purpose flour will make gravy. It'll make gravy. You don't need any self-rising flour or anything, any baking powder in the gravy. So all thing you want is just a little gravy. Okay. I'm looking for my potato masher. Okay, so here you go. Potatoes, about to mash them just a little bit. like them kind of lumpy, so I'm not gonna like make them real creamy. Here's the milk. Okay. And then your salt and pepper. Well, I don't put pepper in my mashed potatoes. You can. You can. I think I do put it in there after once I get it on my plate. I think I will put just a tap, just a little tap of ground black pepper in the mashed potatoes. Not a lot, depending on what seasoning you like. So that's everything. You know, the little food that I was gonna cook. I'll warm up the greens and show you guys the biscuits. Oh, excuse me. You can tell that I sprinkled some black pepper. So, just warm up the greens and the food is darn near ready. Dinner is served. Okay, and really my biscuits are already ready, so it really don't even take them, doesn't take them 10 full minutes. I don't like my bread real brown. Let me let you guys take a look. Look at that. Look at these biscuits. You see how fast they got brown? I'll put them in, and that's because they're on like 475. I'm going to go ahead and turn the oven off and they can brown just a little bit more, making sure they're done on the inside. But you see how quick that was? It does slow me up a little bit when I'm trying to video and cook at the same time. It's not easy to cook and video. So you know it's a little bit disappointing when you make a video and then nobody sees your video, or nobody says anything, no one subscribes. You know, it's kind of bad because it's not easy doing this, you know, to try to share some of the things that I know how to do, some of the recipes that I cook. If you go on my channel, you'll see some information concerning income tax for this year as well. If you guys haven't already done your taxes, those of you that have already done your taxes, you should be getting a refund at some point next week. If you've already done your taxes and you submitted electronically, file them. So you can go on my channel and check that out. If you already did your taxes, well, you'll be able to find information about how you can look up your refund and see where your refund is at and expect you can be able to get the exact day that you're going to get your refund. So go on my channel and you'll get the instructions to do that. Okay? GG's Threefold Harvest. So not just cooking videos, I share a lot of information on my channel that could benefit you guys, or maybe at least somebody that you know. Okay, so look at my potatoes. This is how I like my potatoes. I don't like them real mushy. They're a little bit lumpy. These are the grains. I actually like cornbread with my greens, but I'm not cooking cornbread this time. Homemade cornbread. You can go on my channel and see me making homemade fried cornbread. Fried water cornbread. There's the greens. They just warmed up from the other day. I'll let you take a look at the, one more look at the hamburger and gravy. And that's it. It didn't take very long. I guess I can take a screenshot before I turn the camera on. I think I'll put some, if you want to hold on, I'll put a little bit in this plate. And just take a screenshot of the plate so I can take my face off of the video. Most of my cooking videos, you see my face because I'll either forget to do the thumbnail or I just don't go back and change it. So what I'm going to do, I don't need that little plate. I'm going to make a plate, take a screenshot, and let you guys go. I think I did let you look in the pot again. And let you look in the pot. Okay, I'll turn you around again. See how the gravy thicken up some? Could have stood to thicken up a little bit more, but that's good enough. See that? Now you can make as much gravy as you can. I mean, you get used to knowing how much flour to use, how much seasoning, how much water, how much grease you need to leave in the pot. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of my potatoes on the plate. Okay. Just make the plate. Okay. And just put a little bit of gravy on there. I guess this will be my plate. See that? I'm actually just making a plate. You know how much gravy you want. I like a lot of gravy. And then you see my biscuits. So I'll go, those are biscuits I just made. I'll get one biscuit here. And then just a few of the greens. And these greens were just already cooked, so they just were heated up a little. Just you can have a little bit of greens on your plate. String beans, you can have string beans, anything, whatever it is you want. Again, go on my channel and look at the cornbread that I fried on there, so you can know how to fry some good old-fashioned stovetop cornbread. Okay? So, there is the plate. I'll have to take a screenshot of it once I close the video. I am about to close the video, but here's the plate. See? Here's the plate in front of my famous sign saying, "In this kitchen, we lick the spoon." Look at that. See? Made, I guess, in about an hour, because this video is 50 minutes. So I would say it took me at least 50 minutes to cook this meal. Okay? Okay, meanwhile, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, subscribe to Gigi's Threefold Harvest. And have a great rest of your day.